Welcome to another episode of Anime Splash. I'm Neal Trotter.
I'm Rickey Morris.
So, in case you don't watch this show regularly, what we do at Anime Splash is that we watch the first 3 episodes of a particular anime, and based off only those first 3 episodes do we decide whether or not we want to continue watching the show or just stop watching it altogether. And this time, I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to try to say the title. It's Hakkenden Touhou Hakken Ibun. Do you happen to know the English translation? No.
8 Dogs of the East.
8 Dogs of the East.
Well, Hakkenden, 8 Dogs of the East.
Alright. There it is. So, we're doing that, and we're going to start off, as usual, with a plot breakdown by Rickey.
Alright, so I believe this one is actually a retelling of a Japanese folktale or story, but anyway, this anime centers around 3 characters named Shino, Sosuke, and Hamaji, and they're 3 survivors of when their village came under a plague, and so they're currently living in this church that's next to this forest full of of evil spirits and whatnot, and Shino is possessor of a demonic blade, I guess, called Masamune, and there are pretty much going to be various people that are going to be after him because of this power he possesses. So basically this anime is going to be telling of the adventures that Shino has.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound too complicated, and it's not really that complicated, but I think it does have some things about the plot that make it not complicated, but it's not oversimplistic either. It got some depth to it, I think. So what are the things that I liked about it? I'll just start off by listing those things. Read my piece of paper here. Now, we do this show, Anime Splash, and we continually watch the first 3 episodes. And it just hammers in the importance of making especially the first episode, really good. Now, I know a lot of people, there are people who are not in that camp, that school of thought. People who, they watch a show and they're like, you need to watch a large amount of the show and give it a chance for you to actually judge it. They would argue, like, if you watch only a few episodes, then a lot of shows, you're not going to get the gist, and by reviewing it, watching only the first few episodes, you're not giving it a fair shot. But honestly, I'm in a different school of thought where it's like, there's so many anime, and just shows in general, you gotta grab the audience's attention, or you gotta get them interested, or at least get them to know what you're delivering. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna lose a lot of people. And I just think that's just fair you don't want to waste the audience's time.
I mean, but if you have time to watch 10 episodes of 15, 12 animes, I mean, hey, what power to you?
Yeah. And that's cool. That's good to do. I mean, if you got the time. I'm kind of thinking most people don't have that time. So, yeah, a lot of people do, but in general, looking at the audience as a whole, most people don't have that time. So if you're trying to make a show that is going to be successful, generally speaking, you need to have some good first episodes. And I think this show, coming back to this show, it does a good job doing that. By the end of the first episode, you know what the show is offering you. It's a nice fantasy adventure. The characters are pretty much explained and presented to you. And you also know a lot about what these characters are about, their powers, and what they're trying to do. And that's it. I think that's important. So you already know what you're getting yourself into, and if you just now you can decide, okay, do I want to keep watching or not? You know, some shows don't. You know, you watch the first episode, you don't know what's going on. You're like, man, what is going on? This doesn't do that. So let's see. So the first episode sets up the story plot nicely, I mean, for the whole show in general, and it also has good introductory action shots. You know, they don't go too overboard with the action. They're trying to give you some teasers, right? But also, this show actually has the story. It has a lot of stuff going on, and they throw a lot of stuff at you. But they don't throw everything, because I think if they throw everything at you, you get a little confused. So they throw a little bit of stuff. So you're kind of like a little bit like, what's going on? Like they don't, you know, there's a little bit of a mystery, but it's not too much. You know,
Just spoon feed it to
yeah, basically, or yeah, they spoon feed it to you, or more so they give you enough to make you an informed decision whether or not you want to continue watching or not. Really, that's ultimately the point. Sometimes sometimes the animes will spoon feed too much. That's kind of frustrating too. But this is a good balance. So also in general, I think this show does a good job with balance. You know, it just sets, like I also talked about how it sets up the mood and the tone. This show has a nice balance of action, drama, and comic relief. Now, a lot of anime, they'll throw in the comic relief and it's just not appropriate, or it just doesn't match. Or so same thing with the drama. You know, sometimes you'll have, and then you'll watch the show and it'll kind of feel like the show is like on schizophrenic or something. Like what's going on. You know, some shows try and do that purposely, but you tend to lose people that way. But this is a nice balance where they got enough comic relief where it's not too inappropriate or it doesn't get in the way of the action. And they also got some drama too. But it's all nice and balanced. So you're left with a show that's got action, it's got comedy, and it's got drama, but it's not melodramatic. It's not too much action where there's just completely no story. It's not like crazy comedy at random where you're kind of like, what is the relevance of this? So it's a nice balance. Another thing that it does, if we're talking balance here, is that it does a good job with its setting, where they take a lot of just the style of the clothes people wear and the setting is a mix. It's an even mix of Japanese, pre-industrial flavor. Like you got the traditional kimonos and things like that, but they also got the pre-industrial Western influence. Like sometimes they'll be in an area, I'm like, are we in Britain or something like that? It'd be in this really nice mansion library type of thing. And then they also got some cool modern day clothes, like some fashion of today t-shirts and things like that. And you know, looking at it at first, I was like, this is a mismatch. But then it kind of mixed it in evenly, and it fit. It worked very well, I thought. And also, at the end of the day, why is the show good? Because it has a good sense of adventure. Kind of like that show we did a little earlier called, depending on if you're using the English or Japanese, Magi. I'm going to use the English. Magi has is a show that has an excellent sense of adventure and quest and journey. Just like this show, I think. I felt like it had that feeling. It had that good Saturday morning cartoon vibe that I really like. So, I mean, you might notice, like, I'm not really saying anything bad about it, and I don't really have too much to say that's bad about it. I would continue watching this show. I think it was pretty good. I mean, you know, I actually like shows with a little bit more action, but, you know, this has some good amounts. You know, I'm going to continue watching it. But Ricky, you thought it was good, but you're just not.
I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. I'm just not really. I just didn't find myself like really that invested into it, so I probably won't continue watching it.
You know what it is? What I think it is that, yeah, it's the balance again. So maybe they don't give you enough action drama, or I mean, there's nothing.
I guess maybe that's probably it. I guess. I don't know.
If you're really huge on action, like if you're expecting some Naruto Dragon Ball Z thing, not gonna happen. If you're like really,
it has its moments, but you know,
it has its moments, but they never get into like some, you know,
crazy.
a whole long episode of just a fight scene that takes up the whole episode. Never happens. If you're really into comedy, and that's really all you're not the case, and if you're into like super duper love story, they actually do have a little love story in there. I can see it developing, but it doesn't take up the entire anime. It's like everything is balanced, which I'll actually like. But you know, I think that you bring up a good point. Is that they don't offer too much of any one thing, and you can take that for what you will. So there it is. Ricky would not watch it. I would. Not a bad show. You know, good show for a general audience, I feel. But what do you think? Do you like the show, or do you not like the show, or are you like Ricky, where this show's okay, but I mean, there's better ones out there? And feel free to comment on our YouTube, either the channel or just down below. That's cool. Or you can also hook up with us on Facebook and talk with us there. That's cool. And if you like what you're discussing, and you know you like discussing my anime with us, feel free to like us too. That's always good on the Facebook. Also, don't remember that if you wanted to have us watch an anime and see what we think, you can suggest an anime and we'll watch it. You know, maybe we'll like it, or maybe we won't. But we'll always look at it from a critical perspective. Try not to keep the bias out. Although, you know, I will mention my bias, but I'll try and keep that as not a factor in my grade or how I feel about the anime as a whole. But until next time, check us out. This is all what we always check out anime. And we always give it a shot. There's so many anime, but there's so little time. This is Anime Splash.